Good afternoon. I'm John Falchicchio, Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, and welcome to this week's DMPED Weekly Recovery Check-In. We are doing this live and on location at the Sandlot Southeast. So I want to bring in our first guest right off the bat. That is my friend Ian, who is the proprietor here, co-owner.
Co-owner, yep.
Not just of the Sandlot Southeast, but also
Sandlot Georgetown, Sandlot Anacostia, and some others as well.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about what happens here at Sandlot Southeast.
Well, we're in a very unique situation, positioned between the new Frederick Douglass Bridge construction, Nats Park, and this MRP development at the Marin. We were actually located on the other side of South Cap where that yellow crane is, and we're just an interim solution to a very tough problem in our city with vacant, dilapidated spaces. And as you could see, it's a very dynamic space that's convertible. It doesn't have to be singular in its delivery. It's very traverse with food, beverage, arts, culture, all of that.
All right. And so we're literally, the Nats Park is behind us.
Directly behind.
Frederick Bridge is right in front of us.
Yep.
We've got a dog park. We've got some tables in front of us.
And we have a shipping container from Cultural DC as well to add to the mix. And we have a gallery installation from Andy Yoder called Overboard. So that's also free and accessible to the public.
Okay, but the most interesting part, what's happening right here?
Well, you know, we are a cold pressed juice cocktail bar. We partnered with a local juice bar, Turning Natural. They have plenty of locations throughout the city, one specifically on MLK Ave, right across the bridge. And we do 5 different flavors at this location. And this one is red. We name our juices by color just because it's an easy assimilation. This one is mint, pineapple, pear, beets, and we mix it with Beam Suntory spirits. This one is gin. So it gets you a little spiked cocktail there.
Fantastic. So healthy?
Yes, healthy and
a little bit of spirit.
A little bit of aggressiveness there.
Okay, fantastic. Now, so with Sandlot, so this is actually really interesting because so you're a food entrepreneur, also cultural entrepreneur. So how do you what category do you put Sandlot in, and how are each Sandlot a little bit different?
Well, we try to focus on the specific neighborhoods. You know, when we started in Sandlot Southwest, there wasn't any activity over there aside from Audi Field. So as a DC native, I, sat with my friend Kevin Scooty Hollums and we said, how can we create a space that's safe and unique, and we can get some type of food, culinary experience, and also have some arts and entertainment where there wasn't really much residential. So there's not a lot of places in DC where there isn't a lot of residential. So that was specific to Buzzard Point. Here we're more in a residential zone. So we mix a lot with the Marin and the MRP group. And then Georgetown is in a different environment as well because we're on an old site that used to be a gas station. So to be able to just have 3 different locations that are different in nature, that's really something that we wanted to pride ourselves on. And when we go to Anacostia, that'll also be another type of use that you haven't seen in the Sandlot formula.
Okay. So we're obviously still in the midst of the pandemic, but you and I aren't wearing masks. Could you tell everybody why?
Well, we are fully vaccinated, and per the mayor's order and the federal order, you are allowed to not wear your mask when you're outdoors. But we also, just so folks know, the way we designed our spaces, even post-pandemic, we're probably going to stick to the format. Standing while consuming alcohol, it only just invites problems. Being seated to me really isn't an issue. I think it's something that's allows you to be comfortable.
Okay. So I won't force you to do it right now, but there's drinks, there's ice, but there's also 45 minutes left of the show. So I don't know which way we want to.
Well, I'll just pop it open just for visual aesthetic. Red is definitely the flavor of choice because we're at the Nat Stadium. But as you can see, it's definitely a very nice color. And that's what we want. We want to have fun with it as well. And even with like the culinary side, we partner with Uber Eats, and we have our Uber Eats food truck right here where Black-owned restaurants, chefs, and caterers have access to that food truck rent-free. So when we're open Thursdays through Sundays, they'll be able to provide an area that lacks diversity for Black-owned restaurants with their cuisine type. And then we also have a catering kitchen at the bottom of this apartment building here It's about 1,800 square feet. We're calling it The Bend. And that's also accessible rent-free to Black-owned restaurants, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia as well.
All right, fantastic. Well, Ian, thanks for joining us. Where do folks find you on the web and on social media?
So we are at sandlotsoutheast.com. That's our URL. Instagram as well. I'm Ian Ican, IANEYECAN. And you can definitely reach out on all social media platforms. We're very social.
Would you say you're active on Twitter?
I'm semi-active. There's another guy that I know who's pretty active as well. He'll remain nameless for the rest of the duration of the time.
Well, Ian, thanks for joining us. You brought up food and food access points and supporting local businesses. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in the upcoming couple minutes.
Awesome.
All right, Ian, thanks for hosting us. Thanks for having us today. So really wanted to thank Ian for, again, hosting us here at the Sandlot, talking about his journey as an entrepreneur. And we're really excited to actually be outside here in Southeast DC, and really talking about what's really important is something that we just announced today. Mayor Bowser announced over $5 million in grants to local entrepreneurs in order to support food access points, but also local manufacturing. So I have my colleague in DMPED, Stephanie Thomas, who's the director of the Great Streets program, Great Streets and Retail program. And so we're really excited to have her here with us today. And not only is she here, but she's got over $5 million to distribute. So that brings a lot of smiles to faces.
It absolutely does. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So I am extremely pleased to be with you today and to announce our recipients for the DC LEAF, the DC Local Equity, Access, and Preservation Fund Awardees. And if you may remember, it was $5.185 million that we were able to deploy in unique ways that was thematic, that had equity at its heart, and really was how do we invest in our small businesses here. So I'm happy to start the announcements, beginning with our FY2021 Neighborhood Prosperity Fund. The Neighborhood Prosperity Fund incentivizes community development, economic growth, job creation, and leveraging our local dollars to finance real estate projects and attract private investments into our most distressed communities. And for FY21, we had a focus around economic development, employment, food access and security, and healthcare equity. So our winners, DMPED would like to congratulate the following awardees. From Ward 6, DC Central Kitchen, who was awarded $340,000. Ward 7, we have a couple of them, which is 3443 Benning LLC for $250,000. We have 4600 Minnesota Avenue Northeast, who was awarded $400,000. We have Medici Road, which was awarded $500,000. Marshall Heights Community Development Organization, who was awarded $300,000. And in Ward 8, we have Far East Family Strengthening Collaborative, who was awarded $1 million. Martin Luther King MLK Gateway Phase 2 Land LLC was awarded $250,000. And the Gaston Group, who I'm joined today by Darrell Gaston, who was awarded $145,000. That is our first grouping for the Nourish DC opportunity. That was a $1 million opportunity that had food access and equity at its heart. And it was to build and support a robust food ecosystem for locally owned small businesses in the district that had really suffered with decades of underinvestment. And for this particular solicitation, we were looking for a fund manager who would be able to provide flexible loans and grants and technical assistance that would be catalytic in the lives of our small businesses. So I am pleased to announce that DMPED congratulates Capital Impact Partners, who was awarded $1 million as the fund manager for this program. Finally, we had a brand new opportunity, one that I know you were excited about, Deputy Mayor, which was the locally made manufacturing grant.
So I'm not going to cut in on you, but Sabangway Cook and you really came up with this. So I applaud you guys for coming up with this. And tell us a little bit more about it. And we've got one of our awardees here.
Absolutely. So the locally made manufacturing grant incentivized and bolstered what we naturally do with our Great Streets program, which is to create spaces that are livable, workable, playable, and, whoops, I'm flying away with paper, and create access to retail opportunities. One of the things that we know is that we have a lot of great small businesses here that are manufacturing, but they get to a certain size and they can't find a space that works for them to be able to do capital improvement or to do equipment. So we invested our dollars into those communities and in those corridors. And it's also my pleasure to announce the winners for the DC Locally Made Manufacturing Grant. So we have 2 out of Ward 4 representing the Georgia Avenue corridor. And it is with Malice of Forethought, LLC, who is doing business as Capital Cider House. They were awarded $120,000. We have Bass Bar, LLC, who is doing business as Ancho Cidery, and they received $95,000. In Ward 5, we are excited to announce City State Brewing Company, LLC. They are in the Rhode Island Avenue corridor, and they received $145,000. And joining me today, to my side, is our Rahama Wright, and she is the founder of Shea Yaleen Health and Beauty LLC, and she was the recipient of $640,000 for her project that will be coming into Minnesota Avenue Benning corridor.
Great. Outstanding.
So with that, I know we have our guests and want to do a quick introduction. I'm excited about this conversation. And Rahama.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hello. So I'm joined today by Rahama Wright and Darrell Gaston. And quick intros, Shea Yaleen is a social enterprise that includes a 501c3 nonprofit and a commercial entity that sells high-quality, unrefined shea butter products.
That's right.
Okay. And the mission of your organization is to promote sustainable economic development in rural sub-Saharan Africa, empower and train women-owned business, shea business cooperatives, and to educate consumers in the U.S. about natural beauty care. Yeah. Rahama is a former Peace Corps volunteer in Mali. She founded Shea Yaleen in 2005, and she serves as its president and CEO. That you are a first-generation Ghanaian American,
Yep.
and that you discovered shea butter while you were in Burkina Faso.
Yes.
So later on, about a little bit after your time there, you said, you know what, I want to support the creation of a shea butter cooperative.
That's right.
So I'm looking forward to the conversation with that. In one of the things that was that I think is amazing is that you manufacture, and we certainly want to talk about 2 observations that you had as you were manufacturing your shea butter products, which is body butters, black soaps, lip balms, body balms, soaps, and found in Macy's, Whole Foods, and the MGM Resort, to name a few. So I'm excited to have you here and to ask some questions. And my other guest today, who I'm excited with to meet, is Darrell Gaston of the Gaston Group. And you are a native Ward 8 resident, proudly stating that the blood of DC runs through your veins. And you have a huge commitment towards employing at-risk individuals, particularly youth that might be criminal justice system involved, those who are unemployed, and those who have atypical educational backgrounds.
Yes.
Yeah. And in addition to being a 4-term ANC commissioner,
Yes.
okay, you are the founder of the Gaston Group and the founder of Kitchen Savage.
Kitchen Savages, yes.
Okay, which is going to be a Southern Comfort upscale restaurant to provide the residents in Ward 8 with an additional sit-down dining option.
Yes.
Okay, so I know you did, Coppin State, you did a law program at Howard University School of Law,
Yes.
and both you and Rahama have been recognized by President Obama and his administration for your work. I certainly welcome you here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank
So
you
let's
so
get the
much.
conversation started. And Deputy Mayor, I think you're going to enjoy this conversation with them as well. So again, congratulations, Rahama, on receiving the inaugural, right, DC Locally Made Manufacturing Grant. And you have a unique business perspective,
Yes.
cultural connection, and journey into entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Shea manufactures organic, fair trade skin products that support living wages for women in West Africa.
Yeah.
Your sales strategy incorporates women's micro-enterprise development. And you blend grassroots organizing and business development. So let's start off with the first question for our listening audience. What is shea butter? And why did you connect your entrepreneurial journey to it?
Yeah, well, no, first of all, thank you so much, Stephanie, and thank you so much, Deputy Mayor, for having me. And I also want to thank the Mayor's
Come a
office.
little closer.
Yeah.
Oh, and I also want to thank the Mayor's office for this opportunity. I started Shea after serving in the Peace Corps, and shea butter is the best product for anyone with skin. So if you have skin, you need to go find shea butter. It is a pure, all-natural, plant-based ingredient that we use in soaps, cleansers, moisturizers. And the reason why I got into the shea industry is because of shea butter's connection to the lives of women in small rural villages. And so living in West Africa and living in a community where I saw so many issues around women and their ability to care for themselves and their children is why I started Shea. And so what our business does is we take a local resource, transform it into amazing body care products, and then we're able to help women increase their income 5 times their country's minimum wage, giving them a living wage for the very first time, simply by creating an ecosystem, investing in infrastructure, investing in basic business training, and producing products, and then connecting those products to the marketplace.
Wow. So you're also in Macy's.
Yes, we
Whole
launched with
Foods.
Macy's in February.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
And your manufacturing, what are some of the challenges that you faced as a small business?
So manufacturing, especially for indie beauty entrepreneurs, is one of the largest barriers to entry. The way that the beauty industry is set up, it's very exclusive, and I believe intentionally. There's not a lot of room for small-scale manufacturers to get space within the marketplace, because a lot of times we just don't have access to the equipment. We don't have access to the technical experts like the chemists, the formulators, and also the know-how, like how to actually create a product. And so those are all the challenges that I faced with launching and growing Shea, and part of the reason why I'm so excited about this opportunity.
Yes, so let's talk about that opportunity, and then we can bring Darrell into the conversation here. The Yaleen Beauty Maker Space,
Yes.
a shared manufacturing facility that intends to lower the barriers for entries for those in beauty entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
and doing it in Ward 7,
Yeah.
and doing it on the Minnesota Avenue Benning corridor, and in the Benning Market
Yes,
location.
which I love that location.
So some people are going to wonder, you're very successful, why this pursuit, and why are you committed to strengthening indie beauty brands?
That's a really great question. I think it's an important one, but it's also a timely one. And for me, if we have learned anything this past year with COVID-19, it's that we need to really hunker down and be supportive of each other. We really need to hunker down and utilize our experiences, our resources to not only help build one company, but build as many small businesses as possible. And so building this community and helping other entrepreneurs in the indie beauty space create their products in a facility where they get access to the resources that they need to scale is an evolution of my mission. So my mission starts with these women in these cooperatives in West Africa, right? We help them to create something that we bring to market. Why not replicate that locally and help other small manufacturers create something in a shared environment where you don't have to make all the mistakes I made, where you can learn from me? You know, sharing is caring, right? And so we share our knowledge, and we're stronger together when we don't see each other as competitors, but actually see each other as partners and collaborators. And by bringing this space together, we're reducing the cost for one person to do business because it's going to be shared across several companies. And I'm so excited about this because it's an evolution of something that I started so long ago, and being able to take my experience and take the connections and the network that I've built over 15 years and pass that along to the new generation of indie entrepreneurs. I just think it's so phenomenal that DC government saw the vision, believed in it, because it's going to create jobs, and that's what I'm so excited about.
So really, I want to have the deputy mayor jump in here and get Darrell into our conversation. So Darrell, listen, restaurant owners, they tell us all the time how incredibly hard it is to create great food, create great beverages, and to be successful, right? So you are a Neighborhood Prosperity Fund awardee. You are looking to go into the MLK Gateway project.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about why you started Kitchen Savages and why is bringing this fast casual restaurant to Ward 8 really important to the community?
So as you mentioned, I mentor a lot of at-risk young people, and it's having Saturday night dinners, Sunday night dinners, in which food brought us together to have that conversation of a safe space about what their barriers were. And far too often, there are businesses who come into the African American community that don't look like us or invest into the people that live in that community. And so they said, hey, go start a restaurant. So I mean, besides law school, I paid my way by working at local restaurants in the city, and I took that opportunity to say, hey, let me create something that I can not only teach a young person how to be a waiter, but how to own the next restaurant, to become a bartender and run a bartending school, right? And so this is the opportunity, with the help of the deputy mayor and Bo McKeedy at the McKeedy Group, to provide a hospitality program within a restaurant that would not only create a job, but a career path, so that when the hotel comes to Reunion Square or the St. Elizabeth campus, we have a job pool that we'd be able to then transition over to them. So I look at the Gaston Group and Kitchen Savages as the first step and the opportunity to lower the economic, to increase the economic opportunities and lower the unemployment within Ward 8.
Yeah.
Well, what I love about what both of you are saying is it's not just about the business that you want to start, but it's how you actually grow other businesses.
Absolutely.
So who did you look to when you were starting your business? How did you kind of navigate it? Because I think for a lot of folks, and maybe even folks watching today, just how do you, when you have an idea, how do you bring it to where you guys are today, where you're actually executing on that idea? What's your best advice for entrepreneurs as they start?
It was hard for me because there were people who saw me in one particular light that didn't want me to transcend to another light. And when I reached out to other restaurateurs in the city, the doors kept getting shut. And so I had to go to Philadelphia, where I have friends, to teach me how to do a restaurant pro forma, to teach me how to do a restaurant business plan. And then they introduced me to restaurateurs in the city. I got to know Ian through the city paper, and the pieces came together. But what I believe was the vision. I believe that if it was meant to be, it was going to happen, and the puzzle pieces came together. And so because I believe in my community, I believe in the opportunity, I knew something was going to happen. But it's hard being an African-American male where banks don't want to finance you, right? But banks want to come into the black neighborhoods, but don't want to invest in the community. And that's why I can't thank enough what the mayor and what you have done, Deputy Mayor, for intentionally investing in equity and intentionally investing in companies that are often overlooked by traditional banks that are owned by people of color.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with everything that you've said. And I think that for me, I moved to DC after serving in the Peace Corps. I knew no one. I knew one person, actually, when I moved to this city. And I was in my early 20s. I had $6,000 to my name. So it was like not the recipe for scaling and launching successful business, right? And honestly, I really, not even intentionally, I think accidentally, just started building my network. Anyone who would give me the time of day, I would tell them about shea butter. I would walk around with shea seeds in my book bag, and I would be telling people I just came back from the Peace Corps. I met all these women who are creating this great product. And so even people at my church would call me shea butter. They wouldn't even call me my name. And I think that people started associating me with this vision and this idea and this product, and then it evolved into people introducing me to other folks and saying, hey, you need to talk to this person. Why not go here? Check out this program. And then I leveraged programs like the SCORE program, the SBA SCORE program, where they give you an advisor for free to help you with your business plan, your marketing plan. And honestly, today I feel like there's so many more resources that people can tap into. Being a Black female founder right now is like the best founder to be, right? After for so many years, it wasn't a really great thing to be. But now people are paying attention. They're seeing that we have solutions to our problems. They're seeing that we are the authors of the solutions in the communities that we live in, that we work in, that we care about. And this is why I echo his sentiments about it's so smart for you, the deputy mayor, and the mayor's office to really look at how to invest in creating products. So not only are we taking ownership of the supply, but we're taking ownership of the manufacturing, and we're taking ownership of the distribution. And that's when jobs happen. That's when you're able to turn things where you get more local empowerment, and you're getting people, and I just want to share the statistics. Typically, Black-owned businesses generate less than $30,000 a year in this country, over 80%, right? And why is that? And it's so many issues. He talked about the access to capital piece, but it's also the know-how and the ability to actually create something that you can sell. And so with our business model with the indie beauty makerspace, our goal is to get businesses to 6 figures. Our goal is to get businesses who historically haven't even been able to like make a little dent, get to a place where they're now able to take care of themselves, their families. And the living wage model that we have in the communities that we source our shea butter from is the same thing that we want to create here, living wage jobs here in the district.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I know we've come to the end of our time for this panel, but we could tell there's a lot of enthusiasm. I know Mayor Bowser was just up the street, up South Capitol Street, testifying at Congress, and they said to her there's no manufacturing in DC.
Oh, wow.
And I immediately thought of you and this effort, and I'm so glad that we're here today to invest in it, but both of you for investing in DC, but also for thinking about kind of the next generation of entrepreneurs that come after you as well.
Yes.
So Stephanie, you're like a pro. There was dogs, there were cars passing, there's trucks and all. Thank you for leading us through this. Thank you both for joining us. And really, all that we ask of you is to keep trying your hardest to make this a success and to do exactly what you laid out. So Mayor Bowser would love hearing that you all are going to bring up the next generation of entrepreneurs. So keep at it and keep true to that, and we'll be all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy
All right,
Mayor.
thank you. Well, as we bring in the next panel, I just wanted to remind folks of an opportunity that we have. It's a unique one. As we sit out here today, we're maskless because we're vaccinated. And we're excited that we have an opportunity for you to get vaccinated on Thursday afternoon from 4 to 8 p.m. At the Reach at the Kennedy Center. I see Tomas behind the camera shaking his head because he's very excited. This is one of our first toes in the water or toes in the suds about an incentive for people to get vaccinated. So from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Reach at the Kennedy Center, we'll have J&J vaccine. Walk up, no appointment, no registration required. Just come to us. You can get that vaccine. It's a one and done vaccine, and then we'll give you a beer as well, courtesy of the H2 Collective and some of their partners as well. So really excited to have that opportunity, and really just another way that we're trying to reach out to folks to say now's the time to get vaccinated. This builds on what we launched on Saturday, which are 11 walk-up vaccination sites across the District of Columbia. Of course, you can find out more about where you can get vaccinated at vaccines.gov. But next, I want to bring in another colleague in DMPED. It's Andres Hayes, who is our Director of International Business Development. I think I got that right, Andres.
Director of International Trade and Commerce.
Trade and Commerce. There we go. All right. Thank you, Andres.
Thank you,
well,
Deputy Mayor.
It's not because I got your title wrong and that you corrected me that you were grounded this year. But you were grounded this year, but still made ways to figure out how to support DC businesses.
That's right.
As they think about how to look to new markets. So tell us a little bit about
You're absolutely correct. We got to be creative. So now, first of all, we relaunched the ExportDC program, and that's why we're here today, to make the announcements of the 11 awardees. At the same time, we also are going to be doing trade missions, but are going to be virtual. So that's one of the ways, actually, we're becoming creative nowadays.
And what was great, I participated in one of the virtual missions already. I know I have a couple more to do.
That's right. That's right.
But it was really actually interesting because as important as the face-to-face is, it was a really efficient way to kind of do business. So what have you seen or experienced in these virtual missions, and how do you think it helps DC businesses?
Actually, the next one is going to be a virtual trade mission that we're doing with Greece. And also, we, as part of the relaunch, actually, we bring in all of the 11 businesses with us as well. So if you don't mind, actually, we can go to the next slide and we can talk a little bit about the Export DC program. So I just want to actually just remind and give a brief overview. The Export DC program was designed for SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, to be able to actually expand their operations internationally. So now what we're doing, one of the benefits of the program, the first one is to be able to join us on trade missions. And while they're on the missions, we'll be able to do B2B matchmaking. So we're working with local partners in the countries that we're working with to actually, such as Chamber of Commerce, to be able to conduct that B2B matchmaking. So that's going to be an opportunity to be able to bring them together. At the same time, if a business does not have an international plan, or they're not international ready, we'll be able to coach them. We have we partner with a group that's going to assist them to build that international plan, and at the same time make sure that they're ready to conduct business overseas. Last but not least, we are going to be conducting also networking events, just like the one that we did with the UK that you participated. So that means when other countries, other cities bring missions to DC, we'll be able to actually pair them with them as well. The last, one of the most important aspects to all of this is the follow-up. So we're going to be working with the businesses to ensure that proper follow-up is done to secure that international relation connection. So just a friendly reminder here that our partner in this initiative is the DC Chamber of Commerce. They are the program administrator, and they will be also responsible as well to assist and identify potential businesses to join us on the different missions. As you know, Deputy Mayor, as part of our international initiative, we actually identified 23 countries that we're going to be doing business with this year. So that's going to be opportunities. We're not doing 23 missions. We're only doing 5 this year, but that's going to be opportunities for the businesses to join us, because there's going to be 23 networking opportunities with other countries. We do encourage them to actually visit our website, which is actually, they can do it at DMPED.dc.gov, go into the Business Development International Services, or they can actually go to the dcchamber.org/ExportDC, or they can write us at ExportDC@dc.gov if they have any inquiries about the program. All the 11 awardees, between all of them, they're going to be awarded for $8,250. And that's actually going to cover the mission of the cost, the training sessions, and assist them in any marketing strategy that they might require to be able to join us or to become international ready, more than anything else. Can we move to the next slide, please? Just to talk a little bit more about the virtual trade mission with Greece. That's going to happen on May 19. It's going to go from 8 o'clock in the morning until noon. They're going to have the opportunity to actually meet with local businesses from Greece, and with the intention to actually see if they can actually join forces. And that's going to be a business introduction. It doesn't end there. It's just going to be the beginning. At the same time, we identified 6 industry sectors that we're going to be working with them. And these are hospitality and tourism, healthcare, life science, professional services, real estate, energy and clean tech, agribusiness, food. And if we move to the last slide, and that's going to be the moment that we're waiting for, the announcement of all the 11 awardees. We have Angling Consulting Group, Ward 5. Breaking Story, Ward 7. Capital Cider House, Ward 4. Shad All Public Relations and Events, Ward 2. Codis, Ward 2. Double Blue Investment, Ward 7. Eagle Integrated Solutions, Ward 5. Invest Susu, Ward 8. TAG Integrated Solutions, Ward 2. The Calpro Group, Ward 4. And Washington Digital Media, Ward 4. So thanks again, Deputy Mayor, for the opportunity. And now I would like to introduce one of the awardees, Washington Digital Media, Ricardo Villalba, who is joining us today. And will be able to tell us about his experience of why ExportDC and the benefits that he can get from this program.
Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for this opportunity to share about my company, Washington Digital Media. But before anything, I just want to thank the administration, Mayor Bowser administration. I'm fully vaccinated. My family is fully vaccinated. My whole team is fully vaccinated. So if you haven't got vaccinated, you need to get vaccinated. We need to move forward. I'm very happy to be here, and especially because I already participated in a previous event. I remember we went to El Salvador together. I made some connections through that. Right now, my company is partnering with a company in Paraguay, in which we're going to be doing dubbings. We're going to be translating American films into Spanish. I was working in the Dominican Republic. I produced a documentary there. Last year I was supposed to finish, but because of the pandemic, I couldn't do it. So to me, this is a great opportunity for companies, especially in DC. If you're looking to partner, if just being creative, the internet is opening up the world to us. And you got to think bigger. You got to not only be able to do business in DC or the United States, but explore opportunities all over the world, because that's what the internet is doing for all of us. I'm able to work with companies like us in Paraguay. I contract somebody in Venezuela, in Colombia, who's doing a website for me. And now, this opportunity, I'm going to see what GRI has to offer for us, not only for us as Washingtonians, but also for the rest of, the United States. And I thank this opportunity. Thank you.
Well, and tell us too, so you mentioned that a lot of what you do is, over the internet, enabled by the internet. So how has the pandemic impacted kind of what you do, and as you look to opportunities outside of DC and outside the country?
Well, it's interesting. When the pandemic hit last year, I freaked out. I lost a lot of contracts. I didn't know what to do. But, I didn't just stay there. I just, for 2 weeks I stayed in my house, just like the order and things like that. But I started thinking, where can my business, help other businesses and all that? And right away, I started calling restaurants that didn't have a website. Let me create a website for you. Can you take order online and things like that? At the same time, last year was an election year. So I started calling candidates. You guys running for city, you're running for a position. How are you reaching voters? I don't know what to do. Let me help you. Let me create videos for you. Let me help you reach them online. Let's do, live events like this one right here. And all those things open up a lot of opportunity. And even, when it comes down to now, my company has grown so much and so fast in the last year. Last year was my best year yet. And one of the things that I have come out to, sometimes I need things that my team is not able to do. So I outsource that. I outsource that to India. I outsource that to the Philippines. Sometimes I just need to do graphics. Somebody need me to do graphic design. Sometimes I need to edit video, and my team is already overwhelmed. So sometimes I outsource those services. And I use Fiverr, but sometimes, so Fiverr gives me access to the whole world to get services. I'm working with a Russian guy who's doing animation for me right now. So there's so many ways that you can use the internet in my business, especially to outsource, but even small businesses. I know small businesses that now they outsourcing to do graphics, they're outsourcing to upgrade their website. A friend of mine just told me that he outsourced to do a whole marketing campaign online. Somebody here was going to charge him $3,000. He outsourced it out in another place, ended up paying only $300. So the internet is opening doors. At the same time, the world always love American products. So what we produce here, what we do here, the world is hungry for it. It's always willing to buy. So we're still the best country in the world when it comes to producing content, to creating things, and just creating more opportunities, businesses.
And you were talking to us before we went on air about your facility and how that's going to help actually bring some of that work here and get people to work in DC. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to announce that I just rented a facility on Riggs Road, 204 Riggs Road, Northeast. So it's going to be on Ward 4. 8,300 square feet facility is on the whole top floor of that building. We're going to fix it. We're going to upgrade it. We're going to create studios for video production. I'm going to create some podcast room for people to come and create, podcast recording. It's going to be also photography studio. You're going to have access to computer if you want to edit videos, if you want to do graphic design. It's going to be kind of like a WeWork for creators. I don't know if you know, but YouTube opened a similar studio in LA. and brought content creators there. Well, my studio, I'm kind of taking that idea, but I want to get DC. I love my city. I love Washington, D.C. And we have so much talent in D.C. We have so many creators here, people doing all type of things. And I want to have this studio available to all D.C. residents to come and use it and create their own content. My goal is to open up by this year, by the fall, October, September.
Ricardo, I have a question for you. So in terms to the Export DC program, what do you expect to get out of all this program, this initiative?
Well, in my past experience, I mean, somebody said it before, one of the previous, networking. Networking is so important. You never know. You know, when you spend some time with people, meeting them, getting to know them, you never know what they're looking for. You never know what you can offer, and you learn so much from those experiences as well. I personally, every person I meet, I always learning something new. I always, experiencing new things. You learn about business ideas. You learn about ways that you can invest. You may find an investor and all that. My goal from this experience is just to know more of what's going on in Greece, to see how I can use my business to work with them, or hopefully provide them the opportunity to work with us at the same time, and see how we can collaborate, how we can help each other, and how we can move each other forward.
Well, really want to thank both of you for taking the time to be with us today, but also for the work that you do every day, and really excited to see where this leads us and how we grow DC businesses by looking outside of DC for opportunities.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Well, thank you both for joining us, and thank you all. So we're kind of on an abbreviated schedule today. We're on location, as we mentioned. We're in the midst of dog park, as well as some traffic. And we're also trying to make sure we stay ahead of some rain. So we're going to wrap up here and really just with a couple of reminders. One, we did an announcement today with Golden Triangle Bid. So think about 16th Street and everything to the west that is downtown. And what we saw was that they've activated their public space, their parks, so that there's outdoor office areas for you and your coworkers to go and collaborate. That's a good opportunity. Another opportunity we have is every Monday from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're going to be at local coffee shops across the downtown with a free cup of Joe. So in order for you to perk up as you get into that return to the office, that return to work, that you're ready to go. So look for that on welcomebackdc.com. And then finally, we actually have another announcement for this month. We're partnering with WorkShoe, who was previously on the economic recovery, and they're going to offer for DC residents only a $5 membership for the month of May. Now, what WorkShoe does is WorkShoe finds creative spaces like restaurants and hotels in order to actually allow for co-working space that's sort of on a pop-up nature. So for $5 a month, go to workshoe.com, and that's where you can find out more information about that opportunity. So I want to thank the team and the crew that's with us today. You see me smiling because there's actually some raindrops falling, so we're going to leave it there, but thank you for all your work. Make sure to be safe, to get vaccinated, and thank you all for joining us. We'll see you again next week, Tuesday at 4 p.m. Have a great day.